It depends. There isn't a typical price, all right? Think about it and you'll understand why. There is no typical price because what are you going to sell? Well, let's just start there. Suppose that you decide to sell, I don't know, office chairs, and the office chairs are $50 a pop for you to buy them from the factory. And then you're going to sell them at $150, whatever it is, all right? And you need 20 chairs to get yourself started. So 20 by 50, well, you're up for $1,000. Just like that. So there's that. Or you decide to sell, I don't know, frying pans, and you buy your frying pans for $5 a pop, and you're going to get 100 of them. So that's $500. So $500, $1,000 already. That ain't typical. You can see already it depends what you're going to sell. Now let's think about the marketing side of things. Well, let's start with the shipping side of things. So are you buying your product in Australia? Well, if you are, obviously your shipping costs to get them from Australia into FBA in Australia is going to be less. It's going to be much less. If you're buying it from China, are you going to send it via air freight or sea freight? Well, again, those two things, they cost disproportionately different things. What are you sending over? If you're sending things via sea freight, tends to go on volume. So you tend to pay based on how big things are. If you're sending things over by air freight, then it tends to go primarily on how heavy things are and then on how big they are. So office chairs, for instance, 20 office chairs, well, that takes up a huge amount of space and they're very, very heavy. If you're selling frying pans, well, that's a small amount of space and it's very, very light relative to office chairs. Again, it depends. What about marketing? Well, marketing, what are you selling? Which market are you selling it in? If you're going to get started selling things in Australia, it is much, much cheaper to launch a product on Amazon in Australia than it is to launch a product on Amazon in the USA. It's much cheaper in Australia. One of the reasons I suggest you start with Australia is because it's much easier to launch here in Australia too. Are you launching into a very competitive niche? Well, that's going to cost you more money to get yourself launched in a competitive niche. Is it a niche where you've just created a bundled product? There's so many variables. I don't know what the typical investment is. I've got no idea, Steph. It really, really does depend. It really, really does depend. But here's the thing. You should choose your product based around your budget. That ought to be what you do rather than the other way round. So rather than thinking what's the typical investment required, you should say, well, here's the money I've got. What product is best given the budget that I've got? That's the much better way of doing things. That's the more business, entrepreneurially focused way of doing things. Looking at your resources and then changing your decision-making process relative to the resources that you've got. That's the best way of doing things on Amazon, Steph. So I realize that's a shit-ass answer, but it's the truth, and it's the best possible answer given the question that you've asked. Hey, thanks so much for watching that video, and I hope that you got some massive value from it. Before you go, do you live in Australia? If you do, this is for you. Would you like to learn how to sell things on Amazon here in Australia? Would you like to know what sells really, really well and what sells for the maximum amount of profit? Would you like to know where you can source those products from, whether that be in China or here in Australia, and how to source them so you pay bottom dollar and get maximum value for what you're doing? If you do, please subscribe to my channel and like this video, and you'll learn that and much, much more. It's the exact same information that people like Jeff from New South Wales I've used to make $45,000 a month on Amazon, that Sue, who's from the sunny coast, has used to purchase herself a brand spankly BMW every single year as a result of her e-commerce business, and the lovely Kate from Bowral in New South Wales has used to make $32,000 a year on, a month, not a year, a month on Amazon, and indeed Anthony, who makes $15,000 a month on Amazon, selling, as he puts it, odds and sods. If you'd like to learn the exact same information that they use to maximize their profits for their Amazon businesses, subscribe to this video, like my channel, post below if you want me to teach you something. Okay, I'm out of here. Speak to you soon. Bye. Subscribe. Do it now.